Yeah, so like I said, don't come out here unless you tell me first because it's pretty hazardous out here. I'm gonna be grinding and doing a bunch of stuff with metal. Okay, perfect. Do, 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 do. Mm-hmm.
That's my Yogi, always working.
Perfect.
Huh. I wonder what's going on in here. I wonder where he's at. No? Oh. What? Huh. What the? Yogi? Yogi?
I can't see. I can't see. What? What are you doing in here? I told you it's not safe.
I didn't hear anything going on, and I mean, what are you doing in here?
I'm meditating. Can't you tell?
With snacks?
Yeah, it's a new form of meditation.
Okay, well, what are you doing? I mean, shouldn't you be actually doing something with Pepper?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I should be. I guess we could work on the rust problems on the car while we're waiting for the engine to be rebuilt.
Well, we haven't even sent the engine off, so we gotta do that too.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, I could use your help getting the engine in the box. You want to help me with that?
You got it. You put me
All
to
right,
work.
and then we'll work on the rust.
I love it.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Nap, nap.
And this is how we're going to get it done. Ellen Engineering has a system in place where you can buy their ready assembled custom made boxes to ship your crankcases in there. So it's really awesome. There's custom molding, as you can see the shape of the actual engine block, the half, and there's the other side of it. So I'm going to put all that in here and set it all up. UPS is going to come by and they'll slap a sticker on it and take it away. And it comes with all of this here. Some warnings, heavy package, this end up, things like that. And then of course, the instructions are pretty thorough on what they want you to do. One of the important things that I need to have done here is to get any dowels that are left in here because they will not return them if I leave them. So I've already started the process. This dowel here, I got to get these 4 dowels out, and I believe that is another dowel down there. I'm not sure, but I don't want to lose that either. We'll see. And I'll do a once over on it to make sure it's in good shape, take a few pictures, and then get it in the box and get it ready for Monday's shipment. So let's take care of this right now because I got some other things I want to do. But I ended up, check out my pen, by the way. I don't know where Emily got that from, but that's kind of cool. I think I would have ended up sending this engine block to Ellen Engineering anyway because of the feedback that I'm getting from some professionals out there. These cylinders are known to go out of round. So I would have probably had them re-sleeved anyway. I got the bags here for banks 1 and 2 for their dowels, so I keep them organized. And this particular bank is bank 1. Want to know how I know that, by the way? See that right here, this opening? This is where the starter goes, and the starter is on bank 1. This is the back of the engine, and this is the front that faces the rear of the car. So you know what I'm talking about. So bank 1 through 3, we'll put the dowels in here. I've got the needle nose here on the loosest setting so that I'm not doing too much damage or marring it up, but it doesn't really matter. You can always file it down. It's just a guide pin. It's not like it needs to have specific tolerances. And there. So I like to just kind of loosen it up and then just kind of walk it. There it goes. Yep, that should come right out now. See? Easy peasy. And while we're talking about this hot tanking fiasco, I want to thank all of my loyal viewers and some new viewers as well. Thank you for subscribing and giving me your support and understanding that this type of accident could have happened to anyone. But it ended up happening to me. And I think we've all learned from it. Well, me in particular. To not be an arrogant asshole and think you know everything there is about hot tanking or cleaning aluminum or any of that stuff, you know. Every day will be a learning experience from this day forward. Although I've already kind of taken that mantra anyway, but more so than ever because of what happened. But moving on from that, we're gonna have a good time. Place the half block without the oil filter port in the box as shown. Okay, so yeah, just like that. That's the oil filter. Okay. Yep, there. Okay, like that. Place the half block without the oil filter covered with the cardboard separator. This is okay, like that. Okay, there. Okay. And we'll box this up. Okay. Hey, welcome to Yogi's Garage. I know it's been a few weeks since I've dropped a video, but I'm back with Project Pepper. While we're watching Yogi Mama put up this awesome new banner for me, let's get you caught up. I gotta get the engine shipped and we gotta work on the rust. If you're new to the channel, welcome to Yogi's Garage. So without further ado, let's get going. Okay, and this is what I'm gonna be doing right now first. Before we do any welding, obviously I gotta cut out a template and figure out what needs to be welded. But before I can do that, I got to figure out where the healthy metal is and where the cancerous metal is, for a lack of a better term. So, you know, obviously this area here, I got to inspect further. And the only way you can do that is to get past the rust and see what the condition of the metal looks like underneath that. So I have a couple of tools that are going to help me here. First and foremost, my wire wheel setup here is my drill, some wire wheel brushes. I got an assorted set of brushes here from Amazon. Great little pickup there, not too expensive. And then I have a 90-degree die grinder with a flapper wheel, as well as some heavy grit roll-lock discs. I'm gonna start with the 40s and then move up to the 60s if I run out of 40s. But the goal is to just kind of grind all this out, scrub it all out with the wire wheel, and then any other areas that I can get to with the die grinder, I will, to see what I'm looking at. And of course, you need to protect yourself. So I went out and spent a little extra money on a full face respirator here, because you're talking about rust, you're talking about metal flakes, all of that stuff. Although I have glasses, I'm gonna use this instead to cover my whole face so I don't get any of that stuff in my eyes or in my nose or anything like that. So that's what this is for. You don't have to do that. You can just do a mask or a mouth respirator. I wanted the extra protection because I'm working in an enclosed area. And then of course, like I said earlier, when we were looking at the rust in my previous video, be sure to click that pop out banner there to take a look at it, is to cover all your electronics as much as possible, because you don't want any type of metal getting into your delicate electronics, anything else over here. The long-term plan is to go through the entire cabin and find any rust that may not need to be welded, but just grind it away and resealed, repainted, whatever. I'm gonna go through that as well at some point. But right now, we're just gonna focus on this. So let's get started. I'll set you up and we'll grind this away and see what kind of carnage is behind all this rust. Okay, I wanted to stop here for a moment and just kind of go over what I'm doing and what I'm finding. Okay, so you can see a bunch of holes in the floorboard, and the reason why, obviously, this was done, you know, by natural causes. The other one here, I've been going around on the rusty parts of the floorboard and doing this. You know, just enough to see how soft the metal is. And when I did it here, it did this. It just kind of went through it, right? Same thing here. So the idea is to find, see all of that right there? The idea is to find where the soft metal ends. Look at that right there. That's just soft metal. So it looks like probably from here across and then here. I'm thinking about doing it in multiple patches instead of one big one. I haven't decided yet, but if I do one big one, it's going to be a kind of a weird shape. And that might be fine, but I'm thinking one big one here in the center, probably to, I don't know, maybe this side. So one rectangle here and a rectangle here. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this one piece right here and then another piece here, and then I can just weld them in like a puzzle. I haven't looked at this side, but it doesn't look too bad. Maybe a soft spot there. Yeah, no, not a soft spot. But I'm gonna get some rust remover, rust converter on this stuff here after I grind it away and see. But the front, looks superficial, so that's good. Okay, making some progress. I'm gonna keep chugging along here. I think I have a plan. And then we gotta discuss what's going on underneath the car, simply because there's plumbing that goes from the front of the car to the rear, including coolant and maybe even a fuel line. I think the fuel line's on this side, so I need to be careful. I'll need to disconnect all of the mount points and drop the lines down so that they don't get interfered with when I'm cutting it out. And then, of course, when I'm welding, I need to be careful about that as well. The Dynamat, or the sound dampening here, came off without even much effort. I was concerned that this mat here might be hiding some rust, but as you can see, it is not. There's some superficial rust here and some rust here that I think some hand sanding and then put some rust remover in there and then paint it. Here, just looks superficial to me. That's good. Okay, let's go under, see what the underside looks like and what we have to deal with. As you can see, here's some coolant hoses that are on this side. Oof. And you can see the holes coming through. Huh. Wonder if that line should be kinked like that. I don't think so. Anybody watching this video, leave a comment below and let me know what you think of this. This looks like it could be constricting something if this pipe here is kinked It's almost like some bozo used a lift or something here on this spot and jacked this up. So, not good. All right, so I gotta think about moving that. Yeah, so all of this has got to be moved because of the damage surrounding it. Like this here is the edge of the tub where the passenger seat sits. And here's the other side closest to the well here, the center well. You can see there's more lines here that will need to be pulled. These are coolant lines, no big deal. I can pull them out. It's these fuel lines that I'm concerned about. I think they're fuel lines. They may not be fuel lines. Maybe some kind of air conditioner thing. I think that's air conditioner. Well, that makes it worse, because not worse, but that makes it concerning because it's probably, I'm not blowing cold in my air conditioning. Those are the fuel lines over here. So good. These are fine. No big deal. Fuel lines. I think these are fuel lines, whatever they are. Those are fuel lines. Okay, cool. Luckily, I can take it apart from here and swap out that huge ass pipe. But you know, we're talking Porsche here, folks, so it's not going to be cheap. Okay, so the other side of the well, oh boy, this may be concerning here. This coolant line, it's going to have to come out, shoot, to a splitter. Oh man, it's like I don't really have a choice. I could weld right here, put a heat shield, but I got to cut this out too. I think the tool that I'm going to use, the nibbler, and I'll talk about that later, should be able to come in here and cut that out, no problem. But why take the risk, right? So, okay, so I'm going to have some disassembly to do. Yeah, what a disaster. Hello. Okay. So I'm just going to mark these 1 and 2. 1 being the outside. Also got to avoid getting crap in my face. You know coolant's going to come out of this here, so I want to make sure I'm not in the way. We'll see. Let me see if I can go this way. Yeah, I can go this way with him. Oof. You know, I think my engine going to LN Engineering was probably a blessing in disguise, because I can upgrade the engine now to a 4-liter, and it affords me time to work on the body of this car while I'm waiting for the engine to come back from LN. In case you're wondering how much it's going to cost, well, it's no secret. The cost for a water-cooled re-sleeving with a bore out to 4.0, including the pistons, is $5,795. So I think $5,800. Let's just round to $5,800. And then the shipping is $525 round trip. I think that's a fair price, considering that they provide you with the box, and I think I showed that in my video earlier. That's custom built. The foam in there is custom made for the 911 crankcase. So yeah, I mean, it's a good, and it includes shipping in both directions. And if you've priced shipping lately, it is not cheap. Oof, these are stubborn. Man, I don't know about you guys, but I've been watching this show called The Peacemaker on HBO Max, and I've got that intro song stuck in my head, Do You Really Want to Taste Me? If you haven't heard that song, or you haven't seen The Peacemaker, be sure to do that, because it's an awesome show, but man, that intro is killer. there's a dance routine involved as well. And that song is just ringing in my head. You ever get that when you're got a song in your head and you just can't get rid of it? Well, that's where I'm at right now. There we go. You hear that pop? The hose finally let go. Okay, don't spill on me, you stupid pipe. Okay, good. There's the other one. Okay. All right. Step one, done. I think that was my Sean Connery. Not sure. Right there. Okay. Let's get some more light. There. Do you really, 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 really want to taste me? Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. There. Okay. Gross, sticky foam. Yeah. Another bracket here. Looks like it broke off, maybe. I don't know. Okay. So let's keep moving, shall we? What's interesting is that this hose here is not all the way fully seated. Another indicator of somebody doing this after at some point. I don't know. Don't care. Okay, and I know I'm looking right at the belly of the beast. I know this thing wants to get me full of coolant like it did when I originally took this engine apart. Or took this engine out, but I'm not gonna let it do that to me. You'll see. I swear. Oh. I said, I swear, if I see one drop of coolant, I'm gonna go get a bucket. And what happened? I saw 4 drops of coolant. Woo! I hate you. Oi. There. Don't you remember we built this city? We built this city on, ooh, my camera. Don't get wet, camera. Right into a bucket and dripping on my hand. Thought I was done with coolant, man. I swear this thing holds about 5 gallons of coolant. So if you ever flush your coolant on a 911 996, plan on buying 5 gallons of this stuff. Don't mind me, I'm just going to the bathroom. Right in the mouth. It's a funny thing, I thought my mouth was closed. Ah, my lens is dirty. And I made it worse. Told you. Look at all that. I think that holds 6 quarts. Yeah. And now I'm soaked. Look at that. Man, look at all that damn coolant. And it's the wrong coolant too. Oh, my floor is a freaking wreck. Oh man. Oh well. I'm gonna take the front tires off. I did this one already, obviously. To get to those hoses, the other ends of the metal hoses connect up to here, which goes to the radiators. So instead of wrestling with trying to disconnect it down here, might as well just disconnect it from here and probably from here as well to get those hoses out of the way. And I'll do the same thing on the passenger side. So let's go ahead and do that. But hey, take a look at my suspension. It's literally seen about 10 miles of action since I put it in 3 or 4 months ago. I've been trying to find an excuse to use my extension hose clamp remover, this thing, where you can get the hoses that are really deep in the bowels of a engine bay or something, and I still haven't found a use for it. Thought I was going to be able to use it here. I did clamp onto that clamp underneath, but it still was just didn't make any sense to take it off from there. So I'm going to take it off from here. I prefer this one anyway because I'm a little tired of getting coolant on me. Kind of makes me irritable and it doesn't taste good. Besides, I think I want to replace that hose anyway. Okay, I'm on the passenger side now, and I'm gonna flip out if I don't find my freaking tools. And you hear that little popping sound? That's me breaking another clip. These things are brittle. Look at this. Boop. Oh well. So much heat. I'm surprised they've lasted this long. That's one. Just get my hand in there. Ugh, there we go. Okay. Those are out. So now I should be able to drop those metal pipes and get them out of the way. I'm thinking that I'm just gonna drop them and then they'll just fall to the ground, or I may get them out of the way. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'm almost certain I'm gonna get splashed in the face with coolant, so I'm ready for it. I'm gonna hold my mouth open and take a big swig of it. See? This thing wants to get me. Okay. There. Okay. Ugh. And this one next. Okay. I'm just gonna keep moving down. Oof. Here they come. Oh, I'm out of here. All right, so I'm gonna come in around the other side so that I'm not crossing streams here. Whoop. Hold your horses there, buddy. It's cringeworthy, I know, the green coolant. But hey, I'm getting it all out. I mean, like every single drop. I may even pull the radiators and flush them. What else am I gonna do while I'm waiting for my engine to finish? Which, by the way, is gonna be about 10 weeks is what they're saying the lead time is. So that's crazy. All right, I'm using this new product. It's called a nibbler, or Rex Bet, whatever that means, but it's called a nibbler. And it nibbles sheet metal up to a certain thickness, which the Porsche cars fall right into that, so we don't need to worry about it being too thick. But I'm doing some trial runs here. I'm gonna practice on some of the pieces of this car that I'm not gonna be using. This is the donor piece that I purchased months and months and months ago for Pepper, for the insert for the car seat. So what I wanna do is I just wanna cut out a big piece here so I can practice welding. And what better way to practice than to practice with the nibbler. So this is it right here. You plug it in, get a high-speed drill, and it will cut and leave these little nail files that look like little metal toenail clippings. And it cuts the only downside to this is that it cuts an 1/8 inch gap here. So, you know, you want to accommodate for that when you're cutting the metal out. So just keep that in mind. But I'm going to go ahead and just get this going. And you want to start it with it running. That way you don't mess the teeth up. And on the back side of the nibbler, there's a line that tells you whether or not this is a straight cut or an angle cut. If you unscrew this handle, there's another one of these nibbler sides, but it's at an angle. And I noticed that when I was testing it out on another scrap of metal. So let me give this a go here and see what I can do. So like that. Put it in. Right about there. You don't want to, you want to start it with it running. All right. And there you you go. All right. Man, that tool is awesome. Thanks, Chris Fix. Coolant. I got some of the coolant pipings out of the way here so I can start the cutout process. But what I did here so I can confirm that I'm not going to interfere with any plumbing down there, because I will be using a 4-inch cutoff wheel. We have a 4.5-inch cutoff wheel in addition to my nibbler. Now my nibbler here is an interesting tool because it does a really good job of cutting, but if you can see the die cutter there in the middle, it's pretty wide. So by cutting this out, I have to accommodate for that width and try to take out as little of the bad, try to only get, I need to get good margins, basically is what I'm trying to say here. Good margins means that I need to make sure that I cut out all the infected material with a little bit of the good material, but don't take a whole bunch off because I have to replace it with the donor over there. So I think I'm going to approach this in at least 2 to 3 different welding projects. I'm going to start with this humped area here, and you can see that I started drilling pilot holes here so I can follow it underneath and see how it's going to end up and make sure that the plumbing is not going to be in the way. And if it is, then I'll have to get more aggressive with cutting all or moving all of that stuff out of the way so that I don't cut into it. But for right now, I'm just going to score these lines here so I can visualize what it looks like. And I've got some cardboard here as well as a Sharpie, and I'm going to get that taken care of. So here it goes. Okay, and there, just a basic outline of the infected material that I'm going to cut out. And you can see I'm going to go down and then take it straight across. And then this section here will be another piece, right? So I think I'm going to go from here down here. I'm trying to stay on the other side of this big old access port or plug or whatever that is, because I don't want to weld around it or weld through it. So I'm going to come down here, stay on this side, and then cut this material out. That's pretty rusted, so I think I'm going to cut from around this side here and make a nice rectangle with a slight angle here, and then this will be my third cut, and that should do it. Maybe my fourth cut will be here. I've got a rusted bolt here, and looking in there, it looks like there's some rust, so I may need to cut this out as well. Let's hope not. And then from underneath, it's going to be kind of hard to show you. Let me get some light there. Okay, so you can kind of see the outline here. I got a squiggly line here because I need to re-measure the margin and come out a little bit so I can include the threaded bolt or go around it, one of the two. I may just go around it on the inside and cut around like that. But you can see this is the chunk that I'm cutting out, and it goes around here and up into the tunnel a little bit. So, not too bad. It's a nice little chunk there. And then all of the rest of it, you can see here all of the rust holes going all the way to this side. And this is the end of the wall. So I've got some coolant pipes here. And these aren't coolant pipes. I think I showed you this earlier. These are air conditioning pipes, I'm pretty sure. And you can see the dents in those two pipes there, so that's a replacement. So I'm gonna have to take all this off and drop it a little bit so that my welding doesn't interfere. And once I'm done cutting, I'm gonna have to come under here and grind all of this paint and undercoating off so that I have a good metal to metal butt weld going on here. So yeah, this is it. My cutters are not gonna come through even if I pushed really hard. Even if I pushed really hard, my blade isn't gonna come through. And then the nibbler, of course, if I decide to use that, is just gonna be a little short little shaft coming through the hole. Not a big deal. All right, so that's what I'm dealing with. let's go start some cutting. Oh, that's more metal there. Yeah, this is 2 layers of sheet metal. I'm gonna have to come in here and cut that a little bit more to break this piece free. But I did a combination of things, and I did it off camera so I could get more comfortable with using the tool before I show you. And this is one of the reasons why right here. I was using my 4.5-inch angle grinder, and I lost track of where the blade was at, the disc. And you can see I did exactly what I didn't want to do, and that's cut into this area here. But that's fine. I stopped myself. I can put some more seam sealer right there, and then maybe a little tack weld or a spot weld right there just to hold the metal together. No big deal. And then I'll seal it off. But this is the rusty bit of sheet metal underneath. This is at least 1, maybe 2 layers of, or 3, I should say, 2 or 3 layers worth of metal here. And I made it through most of it, but I'm going to use my Dremel tool to finish this off here, and we'll pop that out. Must have nicked that pipe. Pretty painless. You can see that I nicked it. I think I nicked it with a Dremel tool. But again, this is why you want to move this plumbing out of the way so that you don't cut into it while you're cutting out this cancer. Okay, well, I think overall I did okay, except for that little cut right there. Unfortunately, I did go a little too deep, but like I said, a couple of welds, bam, 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 and I'm done. All right. Now that this is cut out, I want to come in and attack this area here. And like I said, I think it's going to go from here, just a straight rectangle from here to here, across, and just cut out all of this brittle. It may not feel like it, but because of there's undercoating attached to this, here's some of it right here, there's undercoating, so it holds the metal together, but the moment you put any type of pressure on it, it just crumbles. So that all needs to be cut out from here, straight down here. All right, so here's my feedback on the nibbler. This thing did a really good job in straight lines. Any type of vertical move, unless you have the angle, you're not going to be able to get that die cutter, this little punch thing, to angle up enough to go vertical and then back down like that. So I had to use a combination of cutoff wheel, Dremel tool, and nibbler, but it works really well. I mean, you can see it here, just knocking out straight lines, man, when you've got long cuts. Now, this will probably work out in my favor because I have a cutter. My cutoff wheel can just cut off these, and then I can knock out all of the lower sections in straight, quick lines. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And as far as that thread, there it is. See, I cut around it. So as you can see, I make good work on straight lines, but the moment that I have to hit any type of angle, I run into issues. I was able to cut through that undercoat, so good for me, I guess, but I can't get up here. Whew. All right. So, not a great straight line, but nothing a grinder can't fix. So I'm going to switch off and try using my angle grinder. See if I can make better progress here. You can see it makes short work of that. Not bad, right?
Not bad.
Who needs a nibbler when you've got a freaking angle grinder? Whew, my face is on fire because all the sparks hitting me. And I didn't wear earplugs like a big dummy. So now I have ringing ears. But hey, it's almost finished. So there's that. Hey, there's an earplug. Here's another earplug. My ears may be saved after all. All right, I think I can finish that off with the Dremel. Hey, I think there's a big hole in my floor. Can you check that for me? I'm not sure. We don't need stinking passengers. Crazy. This is that piece right there. And you can see, and now this is good metal here, but you need good margins on your cuts because you don't want to leave any of that infection in the car because it'll just keep spreading. So I got one more cut to do right here, this little spot here, and then looks like a jigsaw puzzle. We just put it all back together. And the welding's going to be quite simple, right? These are butt welds. So let's assume this is a new piece here, right? And just tap, 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 and then just tap, 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 tap up all the way around, and we got a new chunk of metal in there. Pretty sweet. All right, I got one more cut to do, and then I'm gonna look at this side over here because there's a little bit of rust here that I need to investigate. I've got some rust remover on there because there's a big old bolt holding the plumbing underneath on, and I need to get that cleaned up. All right, it's a good deal. Okay, making progress. This last hole here, I'm gonna draw an outline from about right here, up here this edge, and then behind this last opening, probably around where that spot weld is located, right there. But I'm running into a problem because the refrigerant tubes or pipes run parallel with the door. So you can see right here where the bungee cord is. I've disconnected as much as I can of these clamps. I've taken these clamps off to kind of give me some more play to help pull them down. So what I need to avoid doing is cutting these pipes, although I don't think, first of all, one of them needs to be replaced. And I don't think there's any Freon in them, to be honest, because one of the pipes has a big old kink in it. So, but I need to be safe about that, and I may need to call an AC guy to come out here and test and drain any coolant from my system or refrigerant from my system. But for the sake of cutting this out, I think I'm safe. You can see my finger right here. Right there is where the pipes are away from it, about 2 inches. So I think I can get that out. But first, I'm going to use my Sharpie and draw out the outline of where I want to cut. And then I'm going to knock it out with a combination of the tools that I've been using, like my nibbler and my angle grinder. All right, and there. Nice little rectangle. I've got all the rust and a little bit of fresh meat on there, and I'm just going to cut this out. I'm going to try my nibbler straight across here, and then try my nibbler across here to kind of shorten out how much cutting I need to do. And that undercoating is nasty. Woof! Burns. Almost done. Now it's time for Dremel. Dremel time to knock out these little bits that are still attached. And then we're almost done. And here's the last piece that I took out. And when I bought this car, there were dents in this area, like pry points, like someone was trying to pry the seat up. And it was, if you recall in my rust videos when I was taking the seat out, yeah, this whole the whole seat rails were fused together. So this is probably how that happened. But the only thing holding this part of the car together was this undercoating, which is pretty thick. So I'm gonna have to get my hands on this stuff again and use it after I'm done replacing all these pieces. But yeah, look at it. Looks like, you know, 3 rectangles. No big deal. I can cut out the rectangles. My wife is really good at this kind of stuff as far as measuring, because I measure none and cut 3 times. So she's gonna help me not do that with this car, because I really don't want to cut into this car anymore.
That's right, Yogi.
That's right. Okay, and here is the floorboard donor. I've shown it a couple of times in previous videos. But here's that bolt that I was referring to in this area here where it looks like there's rust in between the sheet metal. I'm gonna go in there and remove that sheet metal, or remove the rust as much as possible. They also make some chemicals called rust isolators that I'm gonna consider using depending on how the reviews are on it. But anyway, this is one of the pieces here, and it goes somewhere around here on the car underneath. So what's next? Well, I gotta take the spot welds off of this piece because it replaces this piece. So this is what it looked like inside of the car. And you can see the mount points were completely just shredded off. All of this underneath I'm cutting out currently. So yeah, so this piece has got to come out, and I got to do just as good a job as I did on here with my spot weld remover to get it nice and clean and get it out. Once I do that, it'll reveal the floorboard underneath, and then I can start making templates to cut out the replacement pieces. All right, I think I got it. Let's see if I can get this out now. Yep, here we go. All right, there we go. All right. Well, this is the bottom of the floorboard on the new donor. And I lucked out, man. Check this out. I got some duck sauce. I mean, the other day I got some lip balm that was rust flavored. Now I've got duck sauce. Score. Yeah, but seriously, you can see the condition of this floor pan, and it's none the worse for wear. So now obviously the goal is to cut out all of these pieces here that need to go in place of, you can see some dents right here. Must have been the way that they lifted it, I'm guessing. I'll have to hammer those back in. But anyway, nice and rust-free compared to this. I'm gonna obviously have to fill in those holes, but when it's all said and done, this is how it should fit. Something like that. And then I'll have a passenger. Awesome. Whew. Wow. So, hey, you can see that I've got a big hole in my car that I need to fix. And that's for another video. So we've reached the end of this video, but as you can see, I made a lot of progress. The next video that I'm gonna drop in hopefully less than a week, or maybe a little bit more than a week, will be specifically related to welding up, well, first of all, cleaning up the donor and cleaning up the parts here along the edge, getting it all fitted together properly, and then welding it. So we're getting really close to resolving this issue. I really appreciate you guys watching Yogi's Garage. And again, I apologize for taking so long to get to my new video, but as you saw in my intro, I was pretty busy doing other things. So with that, if you haven't done so already, please like this video, like and subscribe, hit the thumbs up, hit the thumbs down, tell me why, leave a comment, engage with me, spread the word, and we'll see you next time on Yogi's Garage.
Don't step to me, newbie. I could truly be moody. I could have played the fucking Grinch in the movies. I've been a part-time shadow cat, part-time. That is not a guy that I would ever want to try to battle rap. Snap, crackle, pop, mind fried to a crisp, making them